Alors, on a une invitée spéciale avec la pizza de la victoire.
Gallagher avance, la passe est pour Danault qui veut se faufiler. C'est complété, le tir. Les héros national! Les Canadiens s'en vont en finale de la Coupe Stanley!
Phillip Danault is back with the Montreal Canadiens. The Habs send a second-round pick in 2026, previously acquired from the Columbus Blue Jackets in the Patrick Laine trade, to the LA Kings, and the Habs get Phillip Danault, the pizza man himself, back from the LA Kings. He's got the rest of this season and next year left on his deal that he signed with the Kings as a free agent. He's 32 years old now, and he is definitely a stopgap solution, but he is a massive improvement for the Canadiens' bottom six. He adds an elite level penalty killer to your bottom six. That is going to greatly reduce the stress placed on Nick Suzuki. He has had to fill in on the penalty kill. I don't like having top players on the PK. I think it's great when you can have dedicated bottom six or middle six guys to do that. I don't want to see stars blocking shots and killing penalties, despite the fact that Suzuki's great at it. And it's crazy to think about the return that Montreal got just for Jordan Harris. I mean, you got Patrick Laine, who without him, you don't make the playoffs last season, and maybe Montreal's not viewed as such a desirable place for free agents or players coming in on trades to go to. And despite all of Laine's shortcomings, the fact that Montreal turned Jordan Harris into Patrick Laine and Phillip Danault is crazy. Great job by General Manager Kent Hughes. I really love this move. I don't think it's a loss in any way. Montreal has so much draft capital and so many prospects in the system, and while the Blue Jackets second round pick that they move out is quite a strong pick, I mean it's pretty close to a late first, a very early second at the very least. I think as far as trade deadline acquisitions go, Montreal's coming out ahead on this one. To get a center of Phil Danault's caliber, I know the offensive production hasn't been there this year, but his underlying metrics are still very strong. I don't think we have much to worry about, and we're not bringing in Phillip Danault to score goals for the Canadiens. Any offense that Phillip Danault produces is a bonus. He is a shutdown center through and through. He was terrific with Montreal in that role. I understand several years have passed. He's aged a little bit. He's slowing down a little bit, but he's still playing very strong defensive hockey. And despite the lack of offensive production, the Canadiens haven't been hurting that much for offense this season. They need a guy like Phillip Danault. It's a perfect add for the Canadiens at this time, especially with how thin they are because of injuries and just a lack of center depth. Now, unfortunately, I think this does mean that Owen Beck is going to come out for the Canadiens, and he's been playing really strong. I don't see who else they're going to take out of the lineup, and I really think the Canadiens are going to lean on those veterans in the bottom six. Maybe Anderson, Evans, and Gallagher go back together to form a traditional fourth line. They could also decide to take Joe Veleno out of the lineup. I think Joe Veleno coming out in favor of Beck would also be really good. The only issue is Beck would have to go to wing, and he's struggled in previous call-ups on the wing. I really like what he's been doing at center. I think, unfortunately for Beck, the best option might be to go back down to Laval, even though he's been playing very well lately for the Montreal Canadiens. But this is just such exciting news. Always fun to have a trade to talk about. What do you guys think? Who do you think Danault's line mates are going to be? Is he going to play on Saturday night against the Penguins? Is he going to have to wait a little while to get sorted, get settled with the Habs? Do you see him as a second line guy, third line guy, fourth line guy? Where do you guys think he'll slot in? Who's he going to be on a line with? He's obviously going to be killing penalties, but what else will he be doing for the Canadiens? Is he going to take someone's spot on the second power play unit? Is he going to replace an Oliver Kapanen out there? Or is he going to be a little bit more held back in his usage than he was in LA in previous years? So let's see how it goes. I'm really excited the Habs brought back Danault. A second round pick, you never know what it could turn into, but it could also end up being a complete bust, so we'll see what happens. And it takes you back to a completely different time in Habs hockey. But Phil Danault's never been able to get out of the first round in LA. They've just lost year after year after year after year to the Edmonton Oilers. And it's hard to believe that it's been 5 years since Danault joined the LA Kings in the 2021-2022 season. And the guy definitely had some great seasons for the Kings. I mean, in his first year, he scored 27 goals. He followed that up with 18 and 17. So he was still able to produce some offense. Even last year, 8 goals, 35 assists, 43 points. Half a point a game is still very respectable, especially for the defensive metrics that this guy brings. His average time on ice with the Kings has been up around 18 plus minutes ever since he got there, and only this season did he fall down to about 16 minutes. I don't think Montreal's going to be using him as much as LA did. I think he's going to be around a 14-15 minute guy. They're going to be much more reserved with how they're using him, but I think this is a great opportunity for him to kind of get some life back into his career, and he lines up really nicely. His contract comes off the books at the same time as Gallagher and Anderson. It gives the Canadiens so much flexibility after next season. But it's just always great to get another Gaucher new onto the Habs roster. I love having French-Canadian players or Quebecois-born players on the Montreal Canadiens. It's really cool to see. It's not the end of the world for me to have French Canadians on the team, but it just brings that level of connection with the roster. There's just something about it that you just don't get in many other places. And it's obviously not how you can build a team, but if everything is equal and you have a choice between a guy who's born and raised in Quebec, I'd rather see the Montreal Canadiens go after those Quebec-born players. And I think it's really nice that they're clearly targeting French-Canadian players and they're just strengthening the roster overall. I really love this trade. I cannot say enough how much I like this. And I'm just curious to see who he lines up with. Of course, we all have fond memories of Danault and that magical cup run that the Canadiens went on in 2021. Anyway, you guys, let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below. If you made it to the end of the video, please consider giving us a like and a subscribe. It really helps the channel. And have a great night, guys.